You done? Okay. Now you see I asked for your daddy, right? I called him for you, right? And you hear what he was saying, right? So I just want you to know that mommy's trying, okay? But I can't make somebody do something that they don't want to, and that's what I want you to understand growing up. Alright? Yeah. But I did call him, right? Yeah. You heard him talking to me? And I told him to come get you, and he said no, right? Yeah. Now you see why mommy don't want to call him when you ask for him? I don't have a daddy. Oh, don't say that, babe. You got a daddy. He your daddy. Oh.
Yo, YouTube, what's going on? Trey back again, hit you with a video. Now, this video is about a mom basically talking to her child, saying to the child, and you know how children are, they can't comprehend everything that a grown-up can tell them, and that's very natural. I mean, we understand that. That's why you have grown up. That's why you have children. And this right here is basically a toddler. A young girl, looks every bit of maybe 3-4 years old, 4 at the most. So this 4-year-old cannot possibly understand what the mom is trying to relay to her. And why would the mom sit up here and tell the girl basically that you see mama try to call your dad, and basically relaying to the girl this message right here, that your dad basically don't want to have nothing to do with you. Maybe it's that day or, you know, forever. Who knows? But it's the way she was saying things, and you could tell how the little girl reaction had turned from her being kind of confused, you know, that perplexed look, to her becoming saddened. Now, one thing a parent wouldn't want to do is sadden their children, especially with some news that they cannot possibly comprehend. And this says a lot about the mom also, that the mom shows signs that she is still bitter and that she must still be in love with this guy or have strong feelings for this guy. Now, I know when you have children by somebody, you know, I can only speak from a man perspective, but if you have children by somebody with a son, daughter, or however, 5, 10, 1, who knows, that you will have some kind of emotional connection to this person forever, you know. And to some people that's true, to some people that's not, which I mean this right here, that you have some people who have kids by each other and still hurt each other and still kill each other. So it's going to be some kind of connection there. But when the relationship is over, you have to know when it's over. You know what I'm saying? You cannot sit up here and beat yourself in the head if this man does not want to have anything to do with his child. Neither more can a man beat himself in the head when the woman don't want to let him see his child. So it's always 3 sides to the stories. His, hers, and the truth. Remember that. His, hers, and the truth. Now, I don't understand. Why would she, number one, film this? Women, stop putting all your business out here on social media, something so intimate as this, you know. And what I do, I take these stories and I try to break them down to the lowest denominator, if you will, and try to come up with some reasoning to this. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the method to their madness? And the only thing I could figure that she did this video for was to put the guy on blast and basically show him, you know what I'm saying, that she is still hurting over him, and also that he hurt the child. Now, I understand about the child being hurt and upset, but we don't know if it was visitation weekend. We don't know what kind of custodial agreement they got set up. We don't know if he had plans to go out of town with workers, friends, or whoever, or his other spouse or whoever he with, or the children. We don't know those obligations, so we can't sit up here and say, well, he's a deadbeat, or he's this, or he's that, because we really don't know the whole truth to the situation. But one thing I do know is that when it's over, it's over. See, people have a way of trying to force themselves on you, and if they can't do it themselves, they will use their child. You see what I'm saying? Because they know the only way to get to certain people, especially if the relationship is over, like if you say, I'm done with you, I don't even want to see you no more, I don't want to talk to you, they would use that child, you know. And if you know, if the man feel this way about you, quite naturally that he don't want you just popping up calling him. That's why you have set visitations laid out, you know, because it wouldn't have been no different if the woman was doing her thing or whatever. She didn't want to be bothered, and the man called and says, You know what I'm saying? Do she want to see her kid? And she says, no, I'm busy. I got this to do. I got to go to work or whatever, you know. So we could take this story and twist it around any kind of way it goes. But one thing you do not do is put this on a little child, because a little child is in no position to comprehend what this adult is saying. But like I said, it sounds like the mom is very bitter. So what are some signs of a bitter woman, if you want to ask me? Here's one that I think right here. They have rigid and narrow perimeters for what is acceptable, whereas means like this woman right here, she didn't take time to even relay in the video why the guy did not want to see his daughter, did not want to say that he didn't love his daughter, did not want to say that he hasn't been seeing his daughter. It's just that particular moment that when she want to subject her daughter in his life, you know what I'm saying, and he says no, but not really saying furthermore what was going on in his life, that leads one to believe that, oh, he's a no good dude. And a lot of people that can't think from here to across the street will think that and say that, oh, he's a deadbeat, or he's this, or he ain't shit. But we don't know the full story, you know. So that's one right there. They have narrow and rigid parameters for what is not acceptable, which mean that, you know, she wanted to force her daughter on him at that moment, and he didn't want to be bothered with it. We don't know if he was sick or whatever was going through. And if she was going to tell that much, she should have told that in a video also. That way we have more of a clarity of the situation, you know. Now, number two, some of them has control issues. If things vary from their acceptable parameters, they will inflict some form of emotional punishment, just like she did on her daughter, which means that she has the control issues. She want to say, okay, your daughter want to see you. You know how they do. Your daughter want to see you. What you going to do about it? And you say, well, I'm busy, I'm doing this, or I have these obligations. Oh, you a deadbeat, you a deadbeat. If they ain't on child support, I'm gonna throw your ass on child support. That's why I say, if you are not with the person who you intend to be with, and we can't really foresee the future, but a lot of us have the signs right there, right in front of us. And I always talk about signs because there are always signs. Me, I'm just one of the ones that pay attention to the signs. But at the same time, I know, quite hypothetically speaking, that if you could look down the road and you would see that you would not get nowhere with this person, quite naturally, unless you just some thirsty ass man or woman, you would lay down and have sex and procreate and have a child, you know. So you can't really sit up here and say that you didn't know it was going to end this way or whatnot. But, you know, anytime somebody try to throw themselves on you and then try to use some emotional punishment, just like she's trying to use basically to this child, and the child said, I don't have no daddy. And then she said, yes, you got a daddy. Well, you don't already relate to her, basically, in her little mind, that her dad don't love her and don't want to spend no time with her. That means the most to children. That's why they be so proud when the parents come to school, especially in the elementary and middle school. When they get to high school, they start doing all kinds of stuff. That's when they grow up and start smelling themselves, if you will. You know, they don't want to be too much bothered. But when they in that age right there, They really need all the love and support they can get from their parents. So you have to be careful the messages that you relay to your child. Now, also, number three, they have grabs for positions of authority, which mean they want to be the shot callers. They want to be the ones still calling the shots, even though you ain't with their ass. You know what I'm saying? It's just the truth. A lot of men that way, too, where the woman leave and separate the man, that he will still try to call shots. Oh, who you got over there? Or what you doing? You shouldn't be worried about all that. And a lot of people do, and a lot of people still go way far and beyond and end up committing crimes or killing the person just because they want to be in authority of the person, still controlling their lives. You can't control nobody life that's grown. Number one, no matter if they're your baby daddy, your baby mama, or whoever, cousin, friend, mom, whoever. You know, if a person grown, they can do what they want to do. You know, so be aware of that also. If a person is always trying to be controlling you and have positions of authority over your life. Now, also, some of them can appear spiritual and usually functions in several positions in the church. You know what I'm saying? These are the people who love to be in control, love to tell people what to do, and don't practice what they preach, like Barry White used to say. You know what I'm saying? That song, practice what you preach. You have to practice what you preach first before you can sit up here and try to tell somebody else how to do something. It's just like if you don't know how to raise yourself up and be an upstanding man or woman, how can you relay that message to somebody else to be an upstanding man or woman? Not saying that this woman is not, because I don't know her background, but what I'm trying to say is this: people will use all kinds of schemes and things to get what they want and try to relay their point, no matter who it hurts or whatnot. Now, they view their area of responsibility as a position of unquestionable authority, which means my position is unquestionable. I'm your baby mama, no matter, or your ex-wife, no matter who you with. We got a child together. This comes first. Drop everything you're doing. And I'm sure I'm talking to a few people that have said that. A few women that have said that to their spouse, or I'm talking to a few guys right now that have heard their their baby mom say that to them, you know, like, you need to drop everything you're doing, do this and do this right now. Now, if it's not an emergency, or if it's not a life or death situation, you can't sit up here and tell somebody just to drop everything they doing and run over here and see your son or your daughter. It doesn't work there. It doesn't work that way. Now, also, they needs to be in the know and make sure they are aware and approving of all discussions and decisions that goes on with that child, which means no matter if you still take care of this child, if you pay $10,000 a month child support, they still want to know everything that goes on. What did he talk about? What did he take you? What did he do when you was there with him? Did you see any other women? And that's the main thing they be worried about, other women. So you have to be aware of these manipulation skills that these so-called baby mamas use also. And also they manipulate and pressure others to comply with their agenda, which means the fact that this guy did not want to have visitation, or he maybe been working, or sick, or who knows, you know, just got off work very tired, they will pressure other people to comply with their agenda, their authority, what they want done that day. It's just like whenever I wake up, you know, I'm not speaking to me, I'm talking about as in a woman, whenever like they wake up, not to all women, you know, but whenever they wake up, basically they have it on their mind, okay, this is what's going to be done today, regardless of whoever feel. That's why a lot of times you get this call, oh, you need to come over here, or you need to do this. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not even asking me. You're basically telling me I'm not the damn child. You know what I'm saying? Just because we got a child together doesn't mean you're going to talk to me like a child, try to handle me like a child. And that's what a lot of them do. Oh, well, I'm going to take you and put you on child support. Well, that'll be cheaper than me putting up with your ass in this phone call, because if you do that, it's all off then, you know what I'm saying? And then that's why a lot of men leave these women also. Now, I'm not talking about the deadbeats or the no good dads. I'm talking about the men that practically get ranked off by a bitter woman who still not necessarily want to be with them, but want to see that man destroy and hurt and run his name through the mud. Now, we know few women like that. Hell, I'm kin to a couple of them. I'm sure you all are kin to a couple of them. So you have to understand that also. Now, before you sit up here and make a child with somebody, you need to know one thing about the fellas, women. Number one, to know if he's ready to have a child and will he be a good father. Okay, for example, if he doesn't follow through on anything, most likely he's not one that sees things out to the end, which means he's not going to see this child grow up, because he leaves tasks undone also. So you have to be aware of that also. If you have a person who start one project and never finish it, that shows how they really are. You know what I'm saying? I'm the type of person, if I start something, I'm going to finish it, even if I have to come back to it a week later or 2 weeks later. You know what I'm saying? I never leave no stone unturned, if you will. But at the same time, you have guys like that. If they don't follow through on anything, don't think they're going to follow through on raising a child or being in a relationship with you. So you already defeated right there as it go also, because a lot of these things you can prevent yourself from going through. And number two, also, if he's selfish and he's all for himself and he's self-centered and he's only focused about money, he's not going to be too much focused on that child, because he look at that child as a debt. So you have to understand this also. So if he's very selfish and he only look out for himself and worry about himself and only talk about himself, what do you think will become of him and that child? He's not going to commit any time to that child, because to commit your time to this child involves what? Sacrifice. You have to sacrifice your time to be with this child and with anybody in life, period. Everything revolves around a sacrifice. Now, I'm not talking about the ritual sacrifices in Hollywood now. I ain't talking about that. But, you know, if a person loves something enough, they would sacrifice. But at the same time, you have to take in consideration if that person is working, if the person have other obligations going on. So you have to weigh all those also. But a bitter person don't give a damn about that, because they only want it their way or the highway. So you have to remember that also. If he's very selfish, he's not going to be a good dad if he's selfish, because he's only focused on himself. And also, if he's impatient, if he cannot even have patience to watch a movie through, if he cannot have patience to take our time with his child, go walk with his child, go talk with the child, go to the school. If he don't do anything with that child, what makes you think that he's going to be in that child's life for a long time? So these are just some of the examples that that you can be aware of also, even though there's a lot more. I don't want to stretch the video out longer than what it's already been. But the woman in the video, I understand her point, but it's like this, you know, it's a way to do things. It's a way to communicate and relay your message. She did not have to sit up here and say, well, you heard me talking to your daddy. Okay, the little girl heard that. So she's automatically going to say yes, you know. But when she said basically, now you seen me trying to get your daddy this and that, and the girl taking it like, well, My papa don't love me, and don't no child need to hear that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna say especially no little girl, because a little girl or a little boy need their dad just as much as anybody else. So you know what I'm saying? We can't sit up here and say, oh, imagine how she gonna be when she grow up. Oh, that daughter gonna have this and that. It would have been the same thing if it was a boy. Now, how many stories that you hear about boys joining gangs? Joining gangs because the dad is not in the home. How many times you hear about boys out here doing all kinds of things because the father figure is not in the home? So it's no different even with the females, even though the female's the one that they, you know what I'm saying, gonna have the baby, carry the baby, and bring the baby home 9 times out of 10. You know what I'm saying? I understand that dynamic also, but don't sit up here and turn your child against their dad. Now, when they get old enough to realize he ain't about shit, or when the child get old enough to realize the mom ain't about shit, depends on who it is, which way the boat float, then you can sit up there and basically say it like that, like how it need to be said. But don't sit up here and pressure them and relay the wrong messages to them, because they will harbor those feelings and they will start acting it out. That's what's going to happen. They will start acting it out, whether they go to school and get in trouble. But let me know what you all think about this video also. And also, what was your opinion on the lady? Do you think that she was right or wrong, or because she did a better job of relaying her message? And also, if you want to give some of your experiences and tell the people how some of the talks that you had with your children, that would be much appreciated. Let me know what you think so the world can hear it. If you like the video, push that like button. If you like, subscribe. Definitely share the video. Until next time, y'all stay blessed and choose your mate wisely. But at the same time, if you're going to put somebody on blast, at least give both sides to the story. You know what I'm saying? Was the guy busy? Was he working? Was he out of town? Let the people know, so that way we won't sit up here and have the wrong idea and the wrong perception of this man, because we don't know what that man was doing. Y'all stay blessed. I'm out.